for them now, and I don't want to put them in risk more. But at the end, if they will be touched or anything happens to them, they are not better than the Libyans, which they are losing their lives day by day, day after day. And the only thing I am really sorry, and I have a sorrow, that there are children. Imagine a 6-month baby, 6-month baby dies with a bullet. What for? Is he a member of, as Mr. Shagam said, is he a member of Obama? Sorry, beg your pardon. Is he a member of Bin Laden organization? Is he a drug addict? Come on. As Mr. Shagam said, to drug 4 or 3 million Libyans, you need mountains of drugs. But this is only ambition to be and stay in power. You don't say to your people, who loves me can dance and play and go around, and who doesn't love me deserves not to live, should die.
John Hamilton, how would you quantify the amount of backing that Gaddafi actually has now and the amount of people that might be loyal to their last breaths to him?
Well, I think for some of the key individuals that you mentioned at the beginning, the question isn't so much perhaps whether they are hostages of Gaddafi now. I think they're hostages of the things which they have done in the name of the regime over the past decades. If you take Abdullah Sanusi, for instance, he has a conviction against him in Paris. If he is ever captured, he will go straight to jail in France because he was convicted of the bombing of that aircraft which was bombed over Niger. I think Moussa Koussa would be a person who the British police might want to interview about the murder of PC Yvonne Fletcher. I think you could probably go on looking at these sorts of things which have happened in the past, and for the people who were around Gaddafi at the time, who are still around him, if they are there, if they're not dead or in whatever's happened to them inside the regime, they've got no choice. Their destinies are fixed to Gaddafi's.
Mahmoud al-Shamam, with regards to the inverse of that, of those who have actually defected, isn't there an argument that some people might have realized that they don't want to be on the wrong side of history, but also in a very practical sense, if there's a war crimes tribunal, if Gaddafi goes to the International Criminal Court, etc., with regards to possible crimes from the past, they don't want to be implicated, so they're saving themselves now by defecting. Is that a valid argument?
To some extent, yes, but we have to realize a very important thing. The demonstrators swiftly and quickly managed to move what I call it in some other outlets, that in 3 days 1,600,000 kilometers was liberated, and this is make it very hard to anybody not to realize that. And I believe this is very important to look to the character of this revolution. This revolution led and managed by people in Libya that most of them never been outside Libya, and they managed to have and there was no single reporter from any international outlet, media organization or TVs or anything, and they managed to do what we call it the citizen media. They were able to send pictures, to send videos, to send information, and there is no internet, no Facebook, no Twitter. So those people are very organized. People think that this is a chaos, this is a revolution in the streets and people running here and there. No, they control their areas. They control huge areas from Libya, and they control it efficiently. There is no violence in that area. When they capture everything, everybody joined the revolution, was part of the revolution. This is a very civilized movement, though the casualties are high. The Gaddafi forces used a very heavy weapons, and it was a butcher. They are butchers more than anything else. So people start to join.
Mr. Shamam, Gaddafi's son, Saif al-Islam, has been on his own media offensive at the moment, and he's invited certain hand-picked journalists to give his version of events, and he says categorically that they conducted no airstrikes against the Libyan people. What do you think of that?
They were for the last 4 days working day and night to clean areas, to look. Tripoli looks like a normal city, and we warn against it. We warn the media, and we help them to come from the eastern part, from Saloum, and they come starting from the eastern part. We know that there is public relations of firms in Europe, especially in Italy. They paid a lot of money, but last night Reuters was reporting from Libya that demonstrators inside Tripoli are controlling some of the Tripoli. So we know that Tripoli is very tough. We know that he has the power, he has the money, but the PR media will not change the image that everybody see in the world. People are revolt, and Muammar al-Gaddafi days are numbered.
Okay. Nouri al-Mismari, what is the likelihood that Muammar al-Gaddafi might be assassinated by someone close to him?
Well, first of all, I would just, with my respect to Sir Hamilton and Mr. Shamam, there are no loyalty around him. It's a force majeure. What I mean with that the people who are around, it's a matter of survival. If he falls down, they will be judged for their crime or what they have done. So this is an obligation for them to stay around him so they can survive.
But was that why you were close to him for 40 years? Was it merely survival?
No. I don't mean that. I don't mean people around him now. I mean now, in this moment, around him, it's for survival. Because if he falls down, troubles will happen to them. They will be judged for their crimes, what they have done in the past when we were with him. I was not with him. I am a pure diplomat. And I have nothing to do. I am not even the chief of protocol of Gaddafi. I am the general state protocol chief. No more than that. And I am in charge of the diplomacy in Libya, a relationship with the embassies. And you can refer to those embassies, how I was with them and what was my relation. I wanted to do a best image of my country internationally, no more nor less. I never tried to polish anyone, any people, either him or either anybody from his circle, to polish his face in front of the others or internationally. I polished and gave the image of my country, no more nor less, in a civilized way. So I never been around with him. I had to do my job internationally, even with him. I never followed him in his visits inside Libya. I was with him for his international visits or receiving head of states coming to Libya. And they mispoint something like that. I feel very sorry that there are some head of the government, they knee in front of him and they kissed his hand. Mm-hmm. How they feel now? Being kneeling in front of him and kissing his hand. How they feel now? I think they are embarrassed of what they have done. Thank you, sir.
What about the question about the possibility that I mentioned initially, the possibility of him being assassinated by somebody close to him?
It could happen, but maybe who will do it, he thinks that he will get out of charges of what he has done in the past. And what is around him now is very, very close, and people are very, as I told you, very close to him and defending themselves to be around him to keep him. But the time is coming and the date is coming, and it is very short. Nobody thought, nobody was expecting this revolution of my compatriots. They never expected. They just get out sudden, and they were so quickly. They didn't receive any international aid.
Okay.
And I feel very sorry that the international aid is coming only now, and it is too late. They let my people down. Children, old people, old women dying in the streets, and God knows where are their bodies now, buried somewhere. Now the international community start to wake up and think about Libyans. Where they were. I must say that it is time that they think it over and they stop this bloodshed in my country.
Let's ask John Hamilton what he thinks are quite a few fascinating points made by Nouri al-Mismari. With regards to the one where he said that you have these foreign leaders who knelt down and kissed the hand of Gaddafi, aren't they embarrassed now? Of course, there was this whole rehabilitation, if you like, interestingly, a sort of drug reference as well, given that he's been speaking about hallucinogenic drugs recently. This whole rehabilitation of Muammar Gaddafi in the international scene, according to the international community, bringing him back into the fold. As we mentioned, Saif al-Islam and his connections with LSE and his PhD there, the fact that there was a grant there. Britain, France, Italy and other nations and their thawing relationship with Libya over the years. How delicate is the situation for them at this moment in time? And has that relationship with Libya heavily influenced their response now to the crisis in the country?
I think yes, to both points. It's extremely embarrassing for all the European, the world leaders who were clearly chasing after Gaddafi, trying to get some sort of advantage with the country over the past few years. It has to be said that there was an underlying justification for this rehabilitation. I mean, when Gaddafi said he wanted to sort of rejoin the fold, I think that it was absolutely right that a big effort was made to try and bring him in. But looking back with hindsight now, I think we have to say that often it went too far, and much too much faith was put into the extent that Gaddafi had actually changed the way he did business. And I think a blind eye was turned to a lot of terrible things which were still going on. We decided we were going to believe